Gearbox have revealed Borderlands 4's release date, Returnal's Housemarque announce a new game, and the new Metal Gear Solid game gets an official release date. All of this on today's gaming news. Good morning, Ashton.
Good morning, Ben.
We're here on a Thursday instead of a Friday.
Yes, well, there was a state of play last night, and we felt like we needed to tell you about it. There was a few interesting things revealed, a few interesting moments, specifically from Randy and Randy.
They need to stop. Randy needs to stop coming to
Well,
these
Randy's
things.
Multiplying now. There's now 2 Randys over at Gearbox.
I don't like it.
And we'll just get straight into it. They revealed the Borderlands 4 release date for us, which is nice. I was wondering if they weren't going to, because we got the trailer and it ended with 2025, and I thought, damn, we're not going to get a release date. But we have got one. They've announced it's coming out September 23rd, 2025, which for those keeping track means that GTA 6 will not be coming out in September.
That's a fact.
That is a fact. I mean, we already know that Take-Two said that they won't be coming out close together. So,
did they?
Well, they said that they wanted to,
separate Borderlands
separate
and
them
GTA.
out a little bit. So, but yeah, so that's coming out on September 23rd. It's all very exciting. There's also going to be a state of play dedicated to Borderlands 4 at some point in spring, where we'll get a whole new look at the gameplay and the guns, and hopefully some story stuff as well, because we've not got much about that at this point.
Yeah, we don't know who the villains are. We don't know an awful lot about the Vault Hunters, although Randy did say that we will be learning about the Vault Hunters in this state of play.
Indeed.
The most upsetting thing, though, was the banter between the Randys. Made me very uncomfortable. What did he say? I'll feed you, baby bird.
I'll feed you, baby bird.
I don't like that at all.
In front of the entire world.
It's fundamentally makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's fine if they do that, in their private time, but this is a professional showcase. Why does he? Because we all know about Randy Pitchford. We've read the stories.
Yeah.
He's done things, and he clearly just has so much sway that no one other than him will ever be at these things.
Yeah, and I don't know whether he only employs men called Randy, or if he'd made Mr. Varnell change his name to Randy, but there is now 2 Randys.
Once you reach a certain level within Gearbox, you have
become
to
a
change your
Randy.
first name to Randy. Yeah. That's
but
exciting, though.
It is exciting. We had some more information on the official PlayStation blog from Randy Varnell, who is Gearbox's Chief Creative Officer, who said Borderlands 4 is our most ambitious game to date, giving you more looting and shooting mayhem than ever before. He said the players will be able to move across the Borderlands like never before, with double jumping, gliding, dodging, fixed point grappling, and more, dealing death from every direction. So the grappling hook is brand new.
It did look very fluid, the way that they were floating around the environment. It also looked beige and dusty.
Yeah, it didn't look very colourful.
And looked almost exactly the same as Borderlands 3 in a lot of ways. So I'm excited to see if maybe things are going to be shaken up more so than just the traversal, because I feel like Borderlands 2, the real evolution that came over Borderlands 1 was just the huge diversity in biomes and places that it felt like even though you're on the same planet, it felt like you're on a different planet.
Yeah, and I mean also Borderlands 3 did have different planets.
It did. It took you all over the place, but it all just sort of homogenized by hour 60 of going around bloody Eden 6 or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see a little more soon. But it's a dusty planet, and you're shooting basically the same character models from Borderlands 3 as far as we can tell at the moment.
But hey, we're big Borderlands apologists in this house, so we are both looking forward to it very much.
Definitely.
Another thing I'm quite looking forward to, Housemarque have announced their new game. It's called Saros. It stars Rahul Kohli, who in the article they credit saying Midnight Mass, The Fall of the House of Usher, and I would also like to add on iZombie, because that's where I know him from.
iZombie.
And I think he's brilliant in that.
Okay.
And he came on stage and was like, hey, that's Ravi from iZombie. And it was him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a new game from Housemarque, who made Returnal. It's not a sequel.
No.
It does have similar motifs, however, not a sequel.
It does bloody look. As soon as I saw this, right, I was thinking, he got up and he said something about repeating the day, and it started with an SIE stinger, and I was like, that's or a PlayStation Studio stinger. And I was like, this feels like a Housemarque game. And then when the big alien stood up, and in the reflection of his eyes,
it was
or
like
whatever,
a bunch of orbs,
like a spirally projectile that he was probably going to have to dash through and stuff. It's like, this looks a lot like Returnal, And that's very exciting, because Returnal which I had absolutely no excitement for on the lead up to it, ended up being one of the best games I played that year when it came out. I was so impressed with Returnal. And it sounds like it will probably be just as punishing, but differently punishing, in that you'll be able to make permanent progression.
Yeah, so it is seemingly a roguelike, similar to Returnal. However, they have said, again, on the PlayStation blog, where all the information you could ever possibly need is, that after every death you will face a changed world, but in Saros you'll be able to choose and permanently upgrade your loadout for an evolving set of weapons and suit upgrades to come back stronger, to overcome the challenge you face on Carcosa. So it's giving a bit like Hades, in that you can do something before you go back in again to beef yourself up, should you want to.
Yeah.
But it looks great. They have said it's not connected narratively, but it does have similar themes. And yeah, I think we're in for a treat with that one.
I'm excited. I think they've also said that it was maybe in the state of play that this was like the perfection or the evolution, the final stage of evolution of the sort of the Housemarque formula. They've always made brilliant twin-stick shooters. They really pushed the boat out with Returnal in terms of leveling it up to have a narrative and it being third person and a bit more in the style of a traditional PlayStation Studios game. And then if they're continuing with this, that's very exciting indeed. Yeah. And I'm very much looking forward to it. 2026 is all we know for now.
This was just a CG trailer, so we don't know if it plays the same as Returnal, but I would assume it plays relatively similar.
I would have thought so as well.
But yes, 2026 for that one. Very exciting.
I wonder what the story is.
Big monster come out of sea, kill it.
Big monster come out of sea.
Big monster come out of sea, kill it.
So all we know is it's a haunting story of a lost off-world colony under an ominous eclipse. The sun explodes at the end of each day or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's looking for something, isn't he?
He will stop at nothing to find who he is looking for.
Who he is looking for. What if it's Celine from Returnal?
Imagine. But apparently he's not alone on Carcosa, so there'll be NPCs and story information coming soon.
Excellent. Yeah, exciting. I really enjoyed Returnal, and as it went on, I continued to get into it. Initially, I was just cross because it was hard and I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. And I feel like that style of game can be quite punishing to newcomers, not just of the genre, but like that game in particular, because you have no context for anything that's happening.
No.
All you know is that you're getting your ass kicked over and over again. You don't feel like you're making any progress. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
If they can perhaps take that as address those issues, I think ultimately it paid off in the case of Returnal if you stuck with it. But if they can address those issues immediately by having other characters and giving a bit more context to the world, I imagine that would help in that.
I unfortunately did not stick with it.
Yeah.
I played it in co-op and I did enjoy myself, but I was getting my ass handed to me every single time, and I was like, no, I can't be doing with this.
Yeah.
I like to play games and feel like a winner.
It's a tough game. It is a tough game.
Lastly then, that we'll talk about today, there was a bunch more stuff. If you want a full in-depth debrief of the state of play and our opinions on everything, watch the podcast that comes out on Saturday. But the last thing, the Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release date was officially revealed.
Yes.
You may know that last week it leaked on the PlayStation Store by accident with the trailer, but it's coming out on August 28th this year, and it was officially confirmed last night.
So yesterday in the news, Peter and I were joking about what if this is their big final thing, even though it leaked last week. Thankfully it wasn't.
No.
But
it was close to it though.
I was going to say, we were right. I looked at the time and I was like, oh no, they're not going to, this isn't there. And it's coming out August. And we were like, we know. We were there. We were here last week.
Babe, you already told us.
Yes, they have now confirmed it with a trailer. And what a trailer, quite frankly. We got our first proper look at all the villains, which could be considered sort of a spoiler for people who haven't played Metal Gear Solid 3.
It looked mental.
Before. It is mental. It's basically a Bond, it's a Bond game, except you have to defeat the 7 evil X's to get to the big boss.
Scott Pilgrim versus James Bond.
But they've all got mental powers. Some of them are just existential dread. It's honestly, it's a phenomenal game. It seems like they've been really faithful to it. The characters look brilliant, and I'm excited to play it. I'm very excited to play it. I haven't touched it since, God, when I played it on the Metal Gear Solid collection, like 10 years ago, maybe, and so I'm very keen to see it. And Konami also announced another game that's tonally completely different. during this state of play, that being the octopus game.
Oh yeah,
that
was right up my alley.
Darwin?
Darwin's.
Was it Darwin's?
Paradox.
Darwin's Paradox. I don't know.
It was like something like Paradox because I was like, it's a philosophical. Well, I think it might be Paradox.
But Konami are back.
Yeah.
We've got this. We've had Silent Hill 2 remake, and they're working on the other one.
Games.
Got Darwin Paradox. They're putting their finger in lots of different pies. And that's exciting.
It is. This is like looking to be a pretty exact recreation of the original game. So if you are a fan, this is just an upscale version, apparently. There was also something else afterwards, a little ape escape moment, which is teasing some crossovers that are potentially coming to the game, and also maybe a tease at the original Metal Gear Solid mode. What was it called? Snake versus Monkeys. That was in the original Metal Gear Solid 3. So hopefully that will be in it as well, because MB was very excited. He was like, oh yeah, that was in the original game. And I was like, okay.
So it seems like it's so faithful that they basically started up the game on PS2 and went, right, what's everything that's on this disc? Yeah. Okay, let's do all of that, regardless of license issues. I believe actually on the Xbox side, I think I heard this, citation needed, that they'll be getting a Bomberman mode instead.
What?
Because they're not allowed the apes.
No, the monkeys are
PlayStation. They're owned by PlayStation, so they may well be getting a Bomberman mode instead. But that's fun. That's the sort of weird tonal dissonance that Kojima put in there because he's a lunatic. So it's nice to see that.
I don't think has ever been sane in his life. And do you know what? We're better for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've never played it, but watching the trailer, I was like, what's happening? What's going on?
It's very good. Honestly, this trailer made about 1 billion times more sense than whatever they would have shown if we saw Death Stranding.
True.
So he's continued his wacky ways, and that was actually a big omission of this state of play. A lot of people thought that was probably going to be there.
He's showing it off at South by Southwest in like a few months, so I kind of didn't think it was going to be there because of that. We didn't also get Ghost of Yotai.
No, we didn't get that.
That didn't come up.
Very true. No Bloodborne remaster, but we got bloody Days Gone remaster.
And they talked about Armored Core.
Great. Love it. Another FromSoft game. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Are there any games that you were expecting to be at the State of Play but weren't? What was the most exciting thing that you saw? What would you rate it out of 10? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned to our social media for daily video game news. That's us done on the news videos for this week. We moved tomorrow's video, up to today, unless something massive happens, of course. Yeah. Fingers crossed that it doesn't, because we've got lots of stuff to be cracking on with. We'll see you in the podcast on Saturday, but until then, goodbye.
Oh, bye.